Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Kazan, Russia on Tuesday for the 16th BRICS summit. As per reports, his first major meeting was with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, where Prime Minister Modi reportedly once again reiterated India's position that the Russia-Ukraine war should be resolved through peaceful means. He reportedly underscored that India stands ready to offer support in the pursuit of peace. Meanwhile, Putin said that Russia greatly values the joint Indian-Russian cooperation within BRICS, especially since both the countries are the founding members. Prime Minister Modi later took to social media to highlight the takeaways of his meeting with the Russian president. I'm quoting, "Had a wonderful meeting with President Putin. India-Russia relations are deeply rooted. The talks focused on further strengthening bilateral partnership in various sectors." That's what the Indian Prime Minister said in that post on the platform X. And after Putin, Prime Minister Modi and the Iranian president also met on the sidelines of the BRICS summit. As per reports, after the meeting with the Iranian president, Prime Minister Modi was also scheduled to have another bilateral meeting. However, as per sources, due to the Iranian president's plane landing late there and the meeting with the Indian Prime Minister getting delayed, his third bilateral meeting could not take place. As per sources, this third bilateral meeting was supposed to take place with the Chinese President Xi Jinping. The possible meeting between Prime Minister Modi and the Chinese President, although unconfirmed officially by both sides, has set major buzz because, as per reports, if the Indian Prime Minister and the Chinese President do sit down for talks, it could mark a pivotal moment in that relationship, a relationship that has been going through a lot of strains since the Galwan Valley clash in the year 2020. Let's just unpack why this meeting, if it were to happen, is so crucial. You see, since the year 2020, India and China have been locked in a tense standoff along the line of actual control, LAC. The trust deficit between New Delhi and Beijing only widened over time. So why are we suddenly seeing an opening for talks? Because you see, things took a turn recently. Both sides agreed to disengage along the LAC, signaling a potential major thaw. Just last month itself, China's defense ministry said it is reducing differences and building some consensus on disengagement in eastern Ladakh. In fact, the Indian Foreign Secretary also echoed similar sentiments, stating that diplomatic and military negotiators from both sides have been in close contact, paving the way for an agreement on patrolling arrangements along the border. But the relationship between India and China has also suffered in the wake of the border tensions in 2020. The national and political expediency also spilled over to other domains. In the year 2020, India banned over 300 Chinese applications, including popular platforms like TikTok and WeChat, citing national security concerns. Major players like BYD, Great Wall Motors reportedly shelved plans for expansion in India, signaling the depth of the mistrust between the two sides. And after the border skirmishes, flights between India and China were grounded. Reports say despite some discussions to resume air connectivity, nothing concrete has materialized. The travel restrictions, coupled with the app bans and the trade barriers, showing just how tense the ties have been. So, could the potential meeting between the two leaders lead to resumption of direct flights? Could Chinese investments once again start flowing into India? Perhaps. But you see, it's far too early to talk about a full reset in relations per se. But the fact that these two leaders could even be planning on sitting down face-to-face suggests that there may be an opening for dialogue. And you see, that is significant in itself. There is hope that the two countries might be able to find some common ground. So can the two sides truly overcome the differences and find a way to coexist peacefully? Only time will tell. Regardless, the potential meeting between the Indian Prime Minister and the Chinese President on the sidelines of the BRICS summit is a step forward and will be a step forward. And my colleague Siddhant Sibal has been tracking those developments very closely on the ground through the day. Sent us this report. Take a look.
Well, as day one of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Russia concludes, the big focus was on the two bilateral meetings, his meeting with the Russian President Vladimir Putin and his meeting with the Iranian President. Now, when it comes to Iran, India has focus on connectivity, especially through the Chabahar port. Also, his meeting will be closely watched in West Asia, where crisis has erupted for last 1 year, and what is conversed in this meeting will be especially closely watched in Israel. Now, with Russia, we know that India and Russia have close relationship. There's several pillars to this relationship, whether it's defense, whether it's energy, whether it's people-to-people relationship, and of course, amidst the Ukraine war, this is a meeting that will be closely watched again, especially in Kyiv. We know that the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been on a bilateral visit both to Moscow and Kyiv, and India has made it clear that it would not like to mediate, but of course it can send messages to both the capitals and emphasize on dialogue and diplomacy. Other than that, we know that later today there will be an informal dinner of the BRICS leaders, where of course speculations are that the Indian Prime Minister and the Chinese President Xi Jinping could have an informal conversation, something we have seen during previous summits like the G20 summit in Bali, or of course the BRICS summit in South Africa. But all in all, it looks like that there is a Kazan thaw in India-China relationship. Tomorrow could be a big day, not only in terms of India-China relationship, but also in terms of the BRICS summit, where the focus is on expansion and also on alternate payments mechanism, something that reduces dependency on Western payment system. With video journalist Ajit Sadhansibal for WION in Kazan, Russia.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.